So it's Tuesday morning. That means Dan McGowan from the Boston Globe is joining us once again, as he does every Tuesday morning. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Let's talk about the debate over a ban on so-called assault-style firearms. We've been talking about this, it seems, for a very long time. So where does this process stand as far as the state of Rhode Island is concerned? We got the State House, the House Judiciary Committee. There's hearings. There's always discussions. It seems like the can gets kicked down the road all the time. Where are we now?
Yeah, I mean, you said it best. We've been talking about this for longer than this period, but if you really go back to Sandy Hook, I mean, more than a decade ago, essentially, and, you know, gradually you've seen in Rhode Island bills pass, whether it's, you know, ban on high-capacity magazines and various other bills over the years, but the big kind of the North Star for the gun advocates has always been an assault-style ban. Connecticut has one, Massachusetts has one. So this year it seems like there's been some momentum. The Senate president has been more open to it than in years past. Governor McKee, of course, included it in his budget. Right. But House Speaker Joe Shekarchi has said, you know, we weren't sure about that in the budget. We're not sure if we got the votes for it. And so there is a lot of questions heading into this week when there's a big hearing on Wednesday.
So, I mean, this is the time where you'll see activists from both sides of the issue giving their argument as to why it should be banned, why it shouldn't be banned. The State House will be active, but it always seems, Dan, like they have these discussions, but nothing ever changes. And that seems to me to be the most frustrating part of all of this.
Yeah, I mean, look, whenever there's the hearings in committee, when you know a vote isn't going to happen, it is very much kind of a for show, for TV kind of experience, right? The advocates on one hand want to show to everybody, look, there's a supermajority of Democrats in the House, in the Senate. We want to show you that we're behind you and we think you should get this done. On the other side, look, there's a large contingent of gun rights people who feel very strongly about this, and they know there are conservative Democrats in the chamber. They know in some of these, you know, rural districts in Rhode Island, they don't want to have to face you know, their constituents and voters when they're knocking doors, all those kind of things. You know, I think you're not going to see anything happen in terms of a vote this week, but it'll be that same kind of show. And then the question is, does this get pushed all the way into the end of the session, June, you know, some late May, or will House Speaker Joe Shekarchi bring it to a vote in quicker fashion?
I mean, there's one thing about guns, but there's assault style. There seems to be a big gap between what should be, you know, allowed. And this year, will it happen, do you think, the assault style ban? If you would look in your crystal ball, what do you think?
I do think it'll happen for a couple of reasons. Number one, I think never underestimate what it means to be in a non-election year. It's much easier to get something done this year than it is next year. I think Joe Shekarchi has made a lot of commitments to try to move this forward. There's some constitutional questions he has raised about the bill as it stands in the House or in the governor's budget, but I think those things will get tweaked. I think the question comes on the Senate side. So Senate President Ruggiero, as I said, has been a little more open to it. But if it goes to the Senate Judiciary Committee, it's still maybe a 5-5 kind of situation, which means you have to bring in the majority leader, Val Lawson, somebody like that, maybe Donnie Ruggiero, to actually come in and vote to move it. That's a difficult thing. So we don't know what's going to happen there. My gut tells me I think it'll happen this year.
Okay, Dan McGowan from the Boston Globe. As always, thanks for stopping by.
Thanks for having me.